I have absolutely no background when it comes to film and video.
Andres Vidoza. He's a tech YouTuber that everyone should know about. He has over 200,000 subscribers and has gotten millions of views. He had humble beginnings though. Just 2 years ago, he was a student and a part-time YouTuber celebrating 4,000 subscribers.
And when I hit 4,000, I was like, oh my God, 4,000 people. That's so crazy, you know?
Nowadays, he's a full-time content creator. We're gonna talk a bit about his backstory, his creative process, and the gear he works with. Let's get into it. Andres, I look at you as an authority when it comes to tech and gear, and I've been watching your YouTube channel, and you've had some crazy growth over the last year. Talking about your backlog, I saw you were at 4,000, so you were celebrating 4,000 subscribers like 2 years ago,
yeah.
Which is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, that's honestly, it's pretty crazy when you think about it. And when I hit 4,000, I was like, oh my God, 4,000 people. That's so crazy, you know?
Yeah. I'm curious, what does a day in the life look like for you as a YouTube creator? I'm assuming you're full-time now, right?
Yeah, I do. We do this full-time. I guess a lot of people, which I understand, don't look at it as a full-time job or as something that it takes a lot of time, right? But it takes a lot of time. We work from Sunday to Monday. I work on Sundays. And for example, on Monday, I basically script, and I have my editor like learning stuff, how to color grade, and like it's his own time where he can just get better at certain things. And then on Tuesday we have our shoot days, for example, the whole day. I usually shoot from like 9 to 9, and then at 9 I do like voiceovers or the A-rolls. And then Wednesday, for example, we finish shooting what we didn't shoot on Tuesday. Then we have the cinematics on Wednesdays. And then Thursday, we do all the content for TikTok, Instagram, thumbnails, metadata, all that stuff. And then Friday, I sort of like breathe a bit and do some research on content creation and things like that. And then Sunday, I do the same thing, a bit of research here and there. It's
pretty much
crazy.
No breaks almost, huh?
No, like I work all the time. I'm home like super late all the time, but we really like it. Like the studio here, it feels like home to us. Like we like being here.
Yeah, your studio is beautiful. And hearing your whole process, it inspires me because you really have like a standardized process when it comes to your workflow. That's awesome.
Yeah, with time, we sort of created this workflow and system. I think systems are very important. So like we were able to, like make it a bit better. When there's 2 videos a week, for example, that's hectic. That's very crazy when there's 2 videos a week. Like next week we have 2 videos, so it's crazy.
Yeah, I feel that. We just got done. This is going to be our 3rd shoot this week, so we're feeling it right now.
I'm sure you guys are 3rd shot. That's a lot.
What would you say? What percentage of YouTube success, at least from your experience, would you say is attributed to the overall video and video idea versus the packaging too? That's a really interesting debate I hear a lot.
What do you mean versus the packaging?
So a lot of YouTubers like to say that the thumbnail and the title is like 70% of their video's performance almost, So I'm wondering, what do you think about that ratio?
I have more leaning towards like 80% because I like to think as a thumbnail and title as your entry point. That's like marketing 101. How do you grab the user, like the viewer, right? And then how do you make them stay and subscribe? So the subscription is like the end of the funnel, right? Yeah. So that's how we would look at it when we were doing like iOS projects in school, building apps. How do I get a user to download my app and then to pay for features within the app and actually use the app? It's sort of the same principle in YouTube. How do I get the user to click? Click is so important, to stay and to subscribe to the content. It's like a 3-phase type of thing, in my opinion. But if you don't have a good thumbnail, you don't have a good title, and you don't have a good topic, especially in tech, it's really hard for your video to like maybe go above and beyond, right? So yeah.
Where did you get started on this creative journey of yours?
Honestly, it was a bit of an accident on my part. Everything started with me trying to showcase my journey as I started coding. So, it's 2 different fields. I just want to show people how I was learning how to code, websites and whatnot. And then I started liking creating content for that type of work. And I eventually just started diving into it. Like, I like the pictures, and then I wanted to learn how to edit them, and then I wanted a better camera, and it started evolving until we grew a pretty decently sized Instagram page, to the point that I think our first sponsor was with Logitech on Instagram. And that's
Okay.
where I was like, oh, okay, maybe I can do something with this because it's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's funny. I was looking back at your old videos and I saw, yeah, you were talking about you started off with like your
Yeah.
coding background and you went to school for coding originally, right? And you were just
Yeah,
documenting the
exactly.
process.
Yeah, that was basically it.
And what was it like for you? I mean, you obviously have made a huge change when it comes to your production value. What's your background when it comes to film and video?
I have absolutely no background when it comes to film and video. The thing that I did the most, though, when I started getting into it, when I was like, oh, maybe I should get a better camera. I started looking at Peter McKinnon, Maddie, Chris Howe, all these big guys a lot, like watching their videos like 24/7.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm like, okay, like let me get better at this, better at that. And eventually I started getting better, at video and photo. But prior to that, all I knew was coding and computers and things like that. More of a geeky, like a nerd.
It's funny. I've heard a lot of parallels when it comes to coding as kind of solving a puzzle and editing as solving a puzzle. Do you kind of see a correlation between the two?
Absolutely. Every time I remember when when I used to code a lot more before, you're trying to solve, okay, how can I make this, for example, look red? I want this web page to look red. Well, it's the same thing in video editing, How can I make this like rotate or, different sound effects and things like that? It's the same. You apply sort of the same logic in your head.
How do you ideate your videos that you come up with? Because it seems like what you're doing right now, it just works, and your thumbnails are killer too. So walk me through your creative process.
For my creative process, I don't try to come up with things. It's more like I'm documenting my life as I use tech, for example, because I like using, for example, the MacBooks for coding sometimes on the side, or to maybe just keep up with all the work we have going on. And so for me, when I build a script, I just talk about a personal experience with the device itself. If it's a device that I recently got into the office like a week ago, then I talk more about first impressions. That's very easy for me because I just talk about experience. When it comes to the cinematics or the like little cool intros we have going on, that's when the creativity starts to kick in a bit more. And we just consume content a lot on YouTube and try to come up with ideas, people that do skits within other niche and things like that. That's how we come up with we brainstorm ideas at night and whatnot.
What would you say are your like 3 key things you look for in a good thumbnail?
For thumbnails, what I like to do is sort of try to add colors that stand out from all the other ones.
Yeah, because I know you think about it a lot. If you guys go check out Andres' Instagram, he actually like crowdsources his thumbnail ideas. He usually has a couple of options, and then we help him pick it.
I've realized that having you in frame versus not having you in frame is better. People like to see someone in the thumbnail.
And talking about, I mean, we love to talk gear. So what are you rocking with audio-wise? What do you got lighting-wise?
Recently, you guys sent the Amaran light strip, which is going to be installed sometime this weekend. And also, I've got an Amaran 200X living on top with a softbox, which is super nice. I get to control it and whatnot. So that's what we got going on right now. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, we love that. 200X is one of my favorites, especially because you can go from tungsten all the way to daylight and even beyond.
Exactly.
I mean, the color temperature control is crazy.
And mostly on the app, which is pretty sick, which is what I like if I'm shooting like alone and whatnot, doing cinematics, lighting effects or whatnot. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing. And especially with Sidus Link making it so easy to shoot on your own, because you can just adjust your brightness of your light right in front of your monitor, so you don't have to keep on getting up and checking things, sitting back down. It's a whole process. So that's what I love about like the integration with Sidus Link that we have going on with the Amaran and Aperture products.
Yeah.
Talking about that strip light, let's break that thing out. What have you liked so far about the new SM5C?
So first of all, my biggest thing, like It's the app, like you already mentioned. That's like my favorite thing about the Aperture products when it comes to integration, because you can have them all within the app, and this too connects in the app, which is pretty cool. And you can, instead of using like the remote control, like let's say this for example, for me is going under the desk right here. I don't know if you guys can see that, maybe not, somewhere like right here it'll go, so I can just maybe like play with it, you know, have it on my disposition whenever I want. But with the app, what I like is that I'll get to control all the like hue and like all the different saturation modes, the effects and whatnot. So that's what I like about it. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, talking about the effects too, there's some crazy pixel effects in there. And
Yeah.
if you ever want to mess around and have some fun with some music, we have some music effects.
Yeah, I saw, because you guys have a little mic right here. So
Yeah.
it picks up, which is pretty nice.
Talking about your lighting and your studio, I know you got a lot of accent lighting going on. You got that really cool tungsten look. And how
Yeah.
could the SM5C strip light fit into that for you?
So what I like doing, because I have a gray wall, which is pretty sick. It's really good for lighting. So what I like doing is having that orangey vibe, you know. And with this, because it has a nice like little softened touch to it on the LEDs, I can have it all around the desk and make it pop even more, you know. So now it's gonna look like the whole wall is sort of like alive, which is what I like. It really goes with the setup. And I like orange, you know. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, that'd be a cool look. That'd be a cool look for sure. And it could integrate into your smart home that you have going on already. So
exactly.
I think that'd be an amazing look.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how it's gonna look.
We were talking about Sidus Link in your setup. How does that integrate into your workflow from week to week?
So Sidus Link from week to week for us, we actually use it quite often. You guys can't probably see that, but I have an iPad on my Husky thing with some of our automation apps, and Sidus Links lives in one of those. And when we shoot cinematics, for example, because I have all the Amaran 200Xs on top, I have like 3 of them in the office. It's really nice because I get to control sort of the luminosity, the intensity of the lights, right? The color temperature for the mood of certain cinematics. So we use it quite often within our shoots. So it's pretty nice.
That's awesome, and especially like with it being on your smartphone or an iPad, it's super convenient.
Yeah, exactly. And we don't really use the hardware, like, you know, physically in the back of the light, you can tweak it and whatnot. Because they sit so high, you know, I'm not gonna go in there and change things all the time. So it's super convenient to have just all the lights in one app.
Yeah, that's the other element. Once you set up your lights, you got your angle, you don't need to lower it so you can adjust all the settings. You just keep it up there and control it on your phone, which is super convenient.
Exactly. Just very nice.
Andres, I know you're super busy. You got a lot of videos coming up, but before you go, I gotta ask, if anyone out there is starting a YouTube channel, what 3 tips of advice would you have for them?
Oof, that's a good one. First advice I would give someone is study YouTube a bit. Like, study the market and see what you want to get into. For example, I like tech, I also like cars, and I like coding. So those are like 3 niches. And I would tell you to, you know, write down niches you like, study them, and get good at photography and making titles, and make sure that I don't know, the topics of the videos are trending in the current state, you know, within maybe like the month or the next 3 months, those topics are trending. I think that's how at first you start gaining somewhat of an audience, and then you can start working on retention, how to retain those people, how to make those people subscribe, maybe adding a bit of your spice into the videos, you know, what makes you different from other content creators and things like that. Those would be awesome. That'd be like the global tip, you know.
I know, that's like all encompassing because we're still trying to figure out retention to this day.
Yeah, retention is not easy, man.
Awesome, bro. All right, well, I appreciate the tips. I appreciate the time. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit about your backstory and your setup. And my man, I'll see you soon. We'll talk a little bit more on Instagram.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.